Hi, my name is James Goins, and 4 years ago, this was me. That was a man right there who was hurting and an addict and tore everybody that was in my path up. I completely tore my family apart. I burned almost every bridge that you can think of. And today, I'm not that guy. 4 years ago, when I was sitting in a jail cell, I woke up, everybody banging on the door because it was New Year's Day, 12 o'clock that night, and or morning, whatever you want to classify that as. But um, I knew I had to do something different. I knew that my life had to stop leading me there. That was what my fourth or fifth time actually being, well, I say arrested. I've been arrested a lot more than that, but actually being put in jail and having to sit there and do a little bit of time. And from that moment on, I realized that, hey, there's something that I got to do to stop this. And when I was a kid growing up, I mean, my mom would bring us to church, but I went to church for all the wrong reasons. But eventually, later on in my life, I realized how much that would play out for me. 4 years ago, sitting in that jail cell, I changed my life and I gave my life to Christ. And it has been one heck of a journey. Um, Being that I was in there, God kind of works with. He gives you a vision, but He doesn't tell you the necessary steps that you're going to have to take to get there. So I mean, from my yeah, I really thought in my mind that I really thought in my mind that He was God, and from my knowledge that I knew of God, that God can do anything, and as long as I believe that, right? Well, that's where my faith is and was at the time, and but I was a very, I was a baby in it, and I thought, I literally thought that once I got out of jail and somebody would hear my story, that I would automatically give the position that I saw in my mind, the vision that he gave me, and that I would rise to the occasion. And here it is, 4 years later. I'm still trying to complete that vision. Along my journey, I've had a lot of no's. I've had a lot of, you can't do this. I've had a lot of why you want to do it, and I mean, it's clear and simple. Where I want to be is this is what I want to do with all my time. I want to devote my time in the building of the kingdom. I believe that we're all called to be members, just like the Bible says that you have many members of the body, but through all your members you make up a whole. So I think the biggest part is where you have to realize what position do you play in the body of Christ. um, Sitting in the jail, I thought that I seen a platform, and I seen me talking to people, and I thought, well, maybe he's called me to be kind of like a speaker or even a preacher, right? Um, and I just literally thought that when I got out and I shared my story with people that it was going to I would be straight into ministries, and that has led to some heartache. Yeah, it has been hard. I know there's got to be other people out there who just, they felt the way I felt, man. I mean, like, you get out, you think you're fixing to do all these incredible things for God, which you do. I mean, I do. I mean, anybody talks to me more than 5 minutes, that's all they're going to hear about, because that's, from the abundance of the heart does the mouth speak. So, I mean, that's all I got to talk about. I mean, I devote all my time. Like when I say all my time, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm riding a vehicle by myself, that's all I listen to. I listen to motivational preachers and speakers, and I always trying to put something positive up here, because at one time, the way I thought of things was so negative. I couldn't find any positive things to say to anybody unless I was trying to get something from them, honestly. Um, so really, through this right here is man, I'm trying to make my vision come true, and hopefully I can find the right people that will see what I'm about through my journey. Through the videos that I'm trying to create, which I know I'm new at it. Like I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know if I'm like stumbling over my words. I don't know if I'm keeping people's interest. I don't know. I know what I've watched, and I know I see what works with other people, but I want to find that rhythm that works for me, and the target people that I'm trying to reach. And really, it's when I started thinking about like who could I reach? Like, I mean, I know me better than anybody else. I know who I was. I know what I transformed from. But it's like what kind of people would actually listen to me? And I was sitting there one day, and and he said the last. I said the last. I was like, the last what? Because I mean that's how my relationship is with God. And he gives me statements, he gives me questions, and then I have to try to fill in the blank. And so he says the last. I said, all right. Anyway, he said the last. And so when I got to thinking about that, I was the last one of my family, the family I created, my friends, my coworkers. I was the last person that anybody thought any good would come from. And the reason why God chooses to use the last is because it will make so much more a difference. See, if you already got everything going on, then people don't look at you as somebody who's actually been drugged through the mud and back. So he uses the last. So my target audience is the last. I'm looking for the people who are just like who I was, or that they still are. And what I want to do is try to help them transform. Okay, and the Bible says that transform is the renewal of your mind. So you have to change what your mindset is. So I tell you, I'll tell you a story about how hard this journey, it could be. Now, on the process of me trying to reach the people who I feel like I'm called to, I try to get a church position, and me trying to get into a church has caused me to leave one church because I was pulled to the side and basically was told to stop reaching out. Never got to meet the pastor. And then now here I'm at my new church, and they invited me and my family in, and we've been honored to serve with that church. They're a very good, loving church, and so being where I'm at in my life right now, I'm an operator on a workover rig, right? And that's not where I want to be. I don't want to be completing somebody else's vision. I want to be the building of what God's given me to do, and it's not really running a rig. Now, I have to get up and still go to this job, even though I don't like to, but it has produced so much more good things in me with true faithfulness, pushing past when you don't like doing something or you get burnt out on it. Okay, so back to my story is that I put my heart into trying to get a full-time position at the church, and it took me almost 3 months to write the material up to present to them what I was trying to do, which was through activities, slowly weaving God in. I don't believe in pounding God, but I believe that you can slowly weave God into people, because most people don't understand. Like they'll ask their question, well, how can God heal me? How can God fix me? And how could God, work in my life? And the thing is, it's a very slow process, because if you wasn't given the right things to God, you're not going to get what you think you was going to get. I don't know if that really made a lot of sense to you, but so it was hard. And so I sat there and I had wrote all this material up, and I was so excited. Had the day marked on the calendar. This is practice how I wanted to walk in, stuff. I mean, little stuff like that. I don't know what I was doing. Like trying to get in a job in the church is hard. If I needed to go get a job in the oil field, I could do that easily. Like, I mean, I got the experience, I have the background, I have the knowledge, I can run all the equipment. So getting a job in the oil field is very easy to me. But trying to get a job in a church where I ran from my whole life is very hard. So I get to the day of the meeting. I'm so nervous. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to over pitch myself. And I just had all these things running in my head. But in the back of my mind, I really felt like that was it. Like, this is my opportunity. God's laid it on my heart to do all of this right here. And I'm fixing to go up there. I'm finna present everything. I'm fixing to walk out. Been bragging at all my friends at work and my family. I'm fixing to have an office. I was just bragging about it, because I was so excited that this is it. This is my chance. This is my opportunity to actually, my first shot to actually, the closest I felt like I've ever been to getting my vision to come true. And it was rough. Anyway, so I get into the office and I start talking to the pastor and I'm presenting stuff and he's over there nodding. He's very excited, which he's always, very excited. But I just, man, in my heart, I just really knew that was it. And we get down to the end of it, and he looks at me and says, "Well, James, this is not a position in the church. This is its own ministry." And I'm like, all right, so I'm in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what does that even mean right now? Like, this is its own ministry. He's like, yeah, I don't, if I can't just give you a position, that I would actually have to go up in front of a board and stuff like that. Long story boring, he gave me a class, and that class, I had high hopes for it, but it died off, and it was just so hard to get it off the ground. The only people I had coming at first was actually my workover, the workover rig that I work on. My crew came, and they supported me, which was, it's to me, what, if the class did not make it, that spoke volumes to me, because why would people who has been working for me choose to come? Because they don't go to church. So to me, in my heart, that made me feel good. But the next day I sat there and I was going to work and I was crying on the way to work, because this is my passion. This is what I want to do, right? And I just knew that this was going to work out. And so I'm driving, and God says, "Man, did you ever think that you needed all them no's?" And I'm like, you know how you're in the feeling of disappointment. You know how you feel. You just feel like, hey. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't even know what to say. He said, "You needed all them no's." And I'm trying to still understand, because God, you said if I followed you, you said if I was obedient and I sacrificed, that you would bless everything, And then that verse came to my head, "There are many plans in a man's heart, but only the will of God will stand." That's not what he had for me, but I couldn't see that because that's what I wanted. It was my will. So I'm sitting there riding in the car, and he said, "James, there were so many more people. There are so many more people who are, just like you. They lived the life that you lived. They changed. They went through that transformation, and all they wanted to do was the same thing you wanted to do. They wanted to serve. They wanted a church position, and they got their first no and they quit." It did make me feel a little better, even though I was still hurt over it. And that day, I was sitting there driving. It was unreal. The churches that I saw, there was like 2 or 3 churches on each road. And he looked at me. When he looked at me, he said to me, he's like, "I got enough churches, don't I?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "So I need somebody that's willing to get people to the churches that I already have." And I do know that we are the church, but there's people out there, and like I said, that we're many members, and you have to figure out what what is your journey with Christ would like. Mine is to really help people get them established into a church that's already running. That's my goals. I would the way I want to do it, or the way that he gave it to me, was I would basically have to study the local pastors that we have, so I know all how they worship, how he preaches, the vision, the values, their mission statement. So when people are coming to me and through my program, which I call it Transformation for Purpose, because it sounds right. You teach people how to transform. How do you transform? Is the reading of the word. You have to replace the world with the word, right? And the thing is and then for purpose, and we all have to, I get into the root of purpose in a little bit, but the transformation part is big, because what if you don't know what the ways of the world are? You're living comfortably, all day long, and you're not thinking you're doing things wrong, because you don't have anything to compare it to. You've been, like me, I wasn't raised to be a father or a husband or a friend or a good co-worker. My dad was a hard worker, but I'm just saying, like, I wasn't raised like that. My dad was very, extreme. He was abusive. He was verbally abusive. He didn't really know how to spend time with me and my sisters. He was the type of man that, he grew up in the old days that the man goes to work and take care of the bills. The mother stays home, takes care of the kids. And when I'm off work, I'm off work. And you're going to keep doing it in that house, and better be clean and supper better be cooked. I mean, that's the type of man he was. My mom, exact opposite. My mom was like down to earth, the angel, you know. So I didn't learn everything that I was supposed to learn growing up. So the only way I knew how to know what a true husband is, how? The word. How did I learn how to be a true father? What the Bible taught me, So the thing is I want to show people that, it is, first of all, that it is possible to change. And regardless if you feel like you have God on the first day, the 50th day, or 6 years from now, because at the end of the day, you're going to go through moments where you feel like you don't have God at all. 4 years into this, and I got one of the biggest faith that I know around myself. And I hate to just say that. I'm not boasting about that. I'm just saying, like, what I believe in is him. And because he saved my life, I've had personal experiences with him that I can't explain, that deepened my relationship with him and makes me stay into his word, regardless if I get the answer that I want or I don't get the answer that I want. On my good days and my bad days, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? So it's a journey. So being that where I'm at right now, I'm hoping that, honestly, if I can keep this up, because honestly, can I come from a place of being honest? It is I have never finished anything that I started. I know, man, and I have all these good ideas, and I'm a type of person that I guess I'm spontaneous. Like I have this idea and I want to go. Anything, if I go out to eat, all right, let's go out to eat. It's never, I'm never have to really sit down and plan something out. I plan on the go. Okay. So I've had all these different ways that I felt like that I can get in ministries. You want to hear one of them real quick? Don't laugh at me either. But so when I got out, I thought that I was automatically going to go to ministry, because if I felt like if just somebody would hear my story, right? Well, at the time, I was watching a lot of Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, and Joel Osteen. And, especially Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey, they have backgrounds, and eventually, I hope that one day that maybe they get to see the video, because they actually did, play a part in my transformation. It actually helped encourage me, that I knew that if that's who they said they were, and this is where they are now, and they applied God, then that he could do it for me too. If he does it for them, he could do it for me. That's how big our God is. He doesn't have just a certain amount of blessings that he got out. He gives the same blessings. It's just if you choose to want to have it or not. And I was so convinced that if I would write these people, and I did, I typed out my whole testimony, and this is who I was, and this is what I want to do, and I sent it to them. Yep. Did get a reply back on an email from Joel Osteen staff, not Joel Osteen himself. So the thing is in my mind, that it was so real to me that if I just got somebody that went through the change, that would see me, oh yeah, they was about to lift me up. But the thing is I wasn't ready. And I really understand that. When you're talking about vision, you have to go to Habakkuk 2:2, because he was the one who actually explained, what vision is and how it's going to look. And a lot of us, and I say a lot of us as believers, would know that it says that that you have to write your vision down, which I have, and you have to make it so clear that they can read it while they're on the run. That means on the go. That means I can just, in my eyes, the way I took it is I can glance at what you have written down, and it's not too detailed where it bores me, but it's enough detail that it caught my attention. It's clear. It says exactly who you are. Maybe through the way you write it, is you could actually see somebody's real true passion into it, right? But the next part, it gets rough because it tells you that you're going to have to wait. You know, it says that even though it may tarry, which means take a long time, but it also showed that even though it was tarrying, that he sat there and he watched for it. He said he would get up on his tower and he said, I will wait till I'm reproved. You know, and I thought about a high tower, and because there was a slogan that I heard, that you have to see it before you see it, and it makes sense to me because if you're up on a tower and I'm looking out over a long distance, I would see anything that was coming towards me, right? So you have to see it before you see it, and I have all of that. I have it all written down. I have faith that God will, do, He'll finish what He started with me, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is where He finally, He finishes what He was going to start. Okay, so I think that I pretty much got into I guess I pretty much covered like this is where I want to be at, and so I think in order for me to truly for people to understand who I am or what I'm trying to do, I think I'm going to have to fully explain who I was. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I'm going to try so hard, man. I wrote a book, No Bird is Too Great, and maybe I can do that kind of in video form. If you feel like you want to support this, if you would just like my videos, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments. Leave me comments of encouragement. Leave me comments on something, maybe something I can do better. Maybe that you're already doing this and you understand how it works. Man, I'm all ears, bro, because I don't know how to do this. Like, this is me, a video in, and I'm just trying to live my dream, bro. I'm just trying to, make this happen. I've tried every which way, and I don't know what other way to go with it. But I do have a passion for just wanting to help people. I want to help for you to know that you can live differently. So, like I said, man, like, subscribe, comments, please, man, please give me feedback. I don't have a whole lot of people in my corner right now that just really give me positive feedback. So I will take any feedback that you got. I love you guys. I'm always praying for, our society the way it is right now. I pray for everybody around us. So, and you too, I pray that, that you can find peace in what I'm trying to do. So I love y'all, and I can't wait to make the next video.